In today's tutorial we're going to learn how to do vertical stripes together just like you see here. This is an optical illusion and this is quite cool. This is coming up next. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today's pattern I'm going to show you how to do vertical striping within a pattern. Now this particular idea that I'm about to show you is more of a stitch concept than it is a particular pattern in this particular tutorial. There is an actual pattern that I'm going to link together with this in the more information of this video for you to actually do a pattern, and it is from one of the brand new patterns for the Baby Brights line where it's showing you how to make solid colors going up and then you'll see that it's variegated going up in the other way. So it's a really quite of a cool concept. So you can change the size of this particular pattern by changing the size of your hook, and so that the yarn complements the hook you can do this in any size that you wish. So this is really going to be quite fantastic, but I want to show you a little more things before we get started on today's tutorial. In the diagram key of the actual pattern that it's called the Bright and Easy Crochet Blanket using Bernat Blanket, it shows that the crochet diagram and it shows that the rows are overlapping each other. So what you're looking at here is if you keep it in multiples of 8 plus 4 at the end of the chain, that you're gonna have it being equaled and balanced each and every time. Today's tutorial I'm gonna show you the tips in order to keep it in balance in your brain so that you will realize that once you're going every other row that it's actually very easy to look at to know what your next steps are. So once you get started it takes a little bit of memory, but once you get beyond that you'll find that you'll sail right through like I was. What you're also gonna notice here, do you see that the blue is overlapping this particular line and coming straight down? What this is that it's going right up over top of this chain. So it's not coming in the front of the chain, it's not going behind the chain, it's actually going around this. So you're gonna compress this chain down in, and so therefore when you double crochet it's gonna get trapped right in the bottom. So what you're looking at here is if you kind of notice it, you'll see that it's kind of going up like this. Okay, so it's compressing it down. So when you're looking at it here is that when you went over, and for example I did this one here, is that it's compressing over the chain that's here and into the next one down. So if you can understand that, it makes it quite easy, and this is a double-sided pattern so it looks great on both sides, and for that it's really quite easy. So I'm gonna So let's get started today. I'm going to start off with a slip knot. I'm going to use regular yarn in order to demonstrate this particular afghan, and you can use the Brights yarn if you wish to do that, a particular example. So if you keep it in multiples of 8 plus 4 you are always going to have the right size if you are going to substitute on the size. If you were going to do the pattern as per the instructions you just have to make sure that you are going to chain 132. So let's begin. I'm gonna do multiples of 8 because I'm gonna do a smaller example. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Big enough, yes or no? If not, continue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Big enough, yes or no? Continue. If not, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if once you're satisfied with the length at the end you're just gonna add 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that gives you multiples of 8 plus 4. So we're gonna start along the chain now and we're gonna come back across it. So I want you to count over to the 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3, come to the 4th, get the back hump only, and I want you to double crochet 2 times into that. So this chain that we had just created by jumping over counts as a double crochet. So on the ends whenever we have this type of row there will always be 3 double crochets that are standing beside each other. So we're now gonna continue along and we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Coming back down to the chain now I need you to skip over to the 8th one. So we're gonna skip a lot of stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 right there. And I want you to double crochet 2 times. We're gonna create a shell. So it's gonna be 2 double crochets into the same stitch followed by a chain 1 and then 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Just like that. Okay? So let's continue along. So whenever you're on the row here you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then skip another 8 and go to the 8th one. So skip another 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So go to the 8th and double crochet 2 times, and then chain 1 and then 2 more double crochets into the same stitch. So you're gonna go all the way across the row like that until you get to the very end, which I'm about to hit. So I still have a lot way to go, but it's really not. So I'm gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So I know from my example here that the last stitch is the 8th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So I can just confidently just go into the final one and I'm gonna place 3 double crochets into the final stitch or to the final chain. So that's as easy as it's gonna get. So the repeat pattern on this particular idea, it doesn't happen till row number 3. So this is row number 1. So this is what it all looks like at this particular point. So let's move on to row number 2. So let's turn our work. So row number 2 is gonna be the exact same color. We're gonna get this pattern established before we start changing colors. So row number 2 is the same color. So whenever we start row number 2, it's simply by chaining 3, 1, 2, 3. And you're gonna come back down to the chain and there is 7 empty stitches. You're gonna come into the middle one. If you don't feel like counting, you can almost get away with just looking at it and just saying, okay, that's the middle one right there. So what you wanna do is that you wanna pinch down this chain to that level there, and you wanna double crochet 2 times into that chain, but making sure that this chain here is right up over top of it so it gets stuck underneath. This is how you hide the colors. So you're going to double crochet right around that whole thing. So you're pushing it down and you're gonna double crochet 2 times, followed by a chain 1 and then 2 more double crochets into the same stitch. So you only have to push it down once because it'll stay in a position, and then you're gonna carry on this row and chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just simply coming again into the middle one. So it's the 4th one in, or you can just visually look at it. So just going in, pushing down this chain here as well to make sure it's stuck on top so it gets stuck underneath, and you're going to double crochet 2 times, chain 1 and 2 more times into that same stitch. So do you get that? So you're going right up over top of the stitch so that it's not in the back, it's right directly underneath. Then you're gonna chain 3 again. So 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna carry on doing that all the way across, and you want to get this last gapping space again. Again, I'm just looking for the middle one, or you can count it over. So just right there. Just push down this other chain here, go around and double crochet 2 times. So 1 and 2, followed by chain 1 and then 1 and 2 again. So at the very end of this row, what we have to do is chain 1 only, and then we just single crochet into the turning chain. So don't go into a gapping space, go right into the chain and single crochet. And I need you to pull up a big loop right now because we're gonna drop this color. So this is what it looks like right now. It doesn't look like the example, but now we're gonna introduce the secondary color, and this is when the fun begins. So let's begin to talk about that next. So the secondary color is now gonna be added, and we're gonna turn our work and we're gonna let the loop and the yarn of the other color fall in behind. So just get it out of your way. Make sure that it's not impeding anything to the yarn ball. Okay? And I want you to create a slip knot and place that onto the hook. And what I want you to do, and this is the only time you have to do this, is that you see the loop, you just come right to the stitch that it's in and just join it with just a slip stitch. So just yarn over, you're pulling it through, and then at the end you're gonna use a darning needle to hide in this starting. So the advantage to this particular pattern is that every time we use the same color, the starting is exactly the same. So for example, this gray that we're about to do is always gonna start this exact same way no matter what row you're on, but as long as you're using gray. So to start gray, all you just need to do is chain up 3. 1, 2 and 3. You remember how we did this before, that there's 3 double crochets right in the end? Well, that's the exact same this time around. So there's gonna be 3 double crochets. Remember that first chaining of 3 counts as one of them. So there's your 3, and now you're gonna begin again going across. So we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. So the difference now in the rest of the pattern is that we come in between where the shells are. So the chain 1 there, and so when we double crochet we go into that space, but we make sure that this chain is also pushed with it so it gets stuck underneath, and you're gonna do 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, just like that. Once you get that done, you're gonna chain 3 again. So 1, 2, 3, and just work your way across doing the same thing. So look for the next shell down here, and you're gonna wrap the hook going in. Make sure this chain is pushed with it so it gets stuck underneath the stitch. Okay, and then just double crochet. So you're just pushing it together. Chain 1 and then double crochet 2 more times. So this creates that visual blocking of the stitch work. And so you can see now you're having excessive chains here. So every time you come back with the other color, it's going to make it solid. So this is the difference I would do when finishing this afghan, but we're not there yet. So let me continue along. So we're gonna carry on, and we have to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then what we're going to do then right on the single crochet right over here, we're gonna put in 3 double crochets. So now 1 is in, and I just gotta do 2 more. Okay, so the gray is always gonna be the same. So on the one side we had the 3 double crochets in, and then we started the chain 3 and then coming in, and then we finished with 3 double crochets. Once you get there, you pull a loop, and then you go back to the beginning to where this other yellow or the lime was, and you put the loop back on the hook, and it's like a relay race. So every time you finish one row of one color, you're gonna go back and pick up the other color, and then do the other color, and then once you get both colors on the other side again, then we restart. So let's begin to do this next color, and it's gonna be the same each and every time that we go to do this when it comes to doing the lime color, and let me show you that next. So whenever we're doing the lime color, we're gonna just chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're not gonna do the double crochets like we did here. We're immediately gonna just jump to the next shell and right in between, and we're gonna double crochet 3 times. Or sorry, 2 times into there. Okay, we push down the gray one with it, so it's stuck underneath. So now you're hiding that stitch, and then chain 1 and then 2 more double crochets into that same one. So this is what's gonna create those vertical lines for you. Once you get the first one done, you're gonna chain 3, so the rest of the row is exactly the same as before. It's a matter of how you start, because the starting is different for each of the colors. So you're gonna come in to the next shell over here, push down the gray with it, and then just double crochet 2 times, chain 1 and double crochet 2 times. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you just carry on until you get to the end. So we're just gonna do the final one over here. Okay, so I push down the gray, just automatically push down that gray, or in your case whatever color you're working with, in order to make it work. Just like so. You're gonna chain 1, and you are going to single crochet. See where the loop is coming out of? You're gonna single crochet right in the top of that one. Okay, and then you're gonna pull up this loop. So now you've just safely then gone across using your gray and then the lime, and now we're ready to repeat again. So whenever we do the gray, it's always gonna be the same, and whenever we do lime, it's always gonna be the same. Let's turn our work and begin the next row. When you go to turn your work, you want to do it so that these strings are not gonna tangle with each other. So I just want to do it so that I put the lime in behind, because I'm not gonna work with it right away. I'm gonna go back to the gray. I'm gonna pick up the gray with my hook and pull it back onto the hook, just like so. So do you remember how to start with the gray? Well, the gray is gonna start slightly different, but watch. You're gonna chain a 3. So instead of coming back into the gray here, you're going to come into the single crochet of the lime for 2 times. So you're kind of shifting yourself up. So you wanna make sure that you get that loop out of the way, everything is out of the way, and it becomes a lot easier. So you're gonna just double crochet 2 times into that particular stitch. So that chaining a 3 plus these 2 counts as 3 double crochet like it did already be here. So now you're gonna chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, skip the next shell here and just go to the next gray and just push down this color with it and go right into the shell and put in 3 double crochets, or sorry, 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet. just like you see there. Okay, and then chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, again skip to the next gray. See, once you get started you can just look for the clues of where the colors are in order to keep you moving along. So chain 1 in between the 2 double crochets, and you're gonna do that all the way across, and then on the very final one chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the very final stitch, okay, it's in the chain just like so, and you're gonna put in 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So you're gonna pull up a loop now. You're done with the gray, but now you're gonna go back for the lime. So let's put the lime back on the hook, and the lime is just like we started before. So this time it's chaining a 3. So 1, 2, 3, and coming back to the lime color, the next one here, you're gonna put in 2. Make sure the gray is then pushed down so it's in between. So 2 double crochets followed by 1 chain and then 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, jump to the next one that's lime here. So hopefully you're seeing how this pattern's working. I think it's an amazing pattern. It's really quite easy. So you're gonna continue along in the same fashion, going all the rest of the afghan just like I'm showing you here. It's really no big deal, but I wanna show you a difference of finishing it slightly different than what is being shown in the pattern to give it a nice sense of closure. Okay, so I'm just coming up all the way to the end. So if it were me, I would finish off slightly different. So chain 1 and then single crochet into the top of the last double crochet. So what you're gonna notice, if you finish off like it says in the pattern, you're gonna have these excessive chain gaps here, but you don't have it in the beginning. So why have that? So what I recommend is that you see in the beginning we have more lime and then the gray kind of started the third row up. So what I would do if it were me is that I would turn my work, instead of pushing the gray back across, I would do it with lime. So we're just gonna do exactly what we did but with lime this time. So we're just gonna chain up 3. So this would be how I would finish the afghan, and you want to put in 2 more double crochets in the end like it was lime. And then what you want to do is chain 1. Okay, this is not in the pattern, this is me. Come into the next one that's lime, single crochet, chain 1, and then come into the next gray and do the same thing of 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. Okay, followed by chain 1, come into the next lime here, single crochet, chain 1, and then come into the next gray. So it's like it's the gray but it's not, but what the difference is that I'm having you put in a single crochet in between the other shells here in order to keep it, see, it's gonna keep it nice and tight together instead of having that excessive chain gap right at the top. Okay, chain 1, the next lime here, it's a single crochet, chain 1, and then 3 single crochets right into the very end. So this is what I would do with this particular pattern if it was me, and therefore you'll have this striping and it will be well balanced just like so. So when you look at the other example that I did here, you'll notice that I started off with the white and then I switched over to blue, and then at the end I did the exact same thing in order to bring it to conclusion just like that. So this is how I would do this particular pattern. It's really not a hard pattern once you understand the concept of burying in the chain work in between to create the vertical stripes and anything that you'd like to do within this particular pattern. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. Have a great day and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.